and through all, and in you all.
Right. Go down to 14.
Let's get it. You know what you got to break down this week, right? Take all your third world war scriptures out in the street, all of your prophecies about the end times. I'll take questions first. Any questions in the room? Up front.
Yes, like I said, I went online to an atheist website, and I went into the contradictions they had in the Bible. I might be having a discussion, with an atheist on his podcast, an Asian atheist. I've never heard of that before, but in any event, there's a little Asian atheist group, and they wanted to bring me on. So studying about atheism and their contradictions. One of the contradictions they say is in the Bible is in Genesis 20 and 11. They're saying that the scripture in Leviticus 20:17 says you're not to lay with your sister. Right. They're saying in Genesis 20 and 11 that Abraham was saying that Sarah was his daughter. Remember, he lied to Abimelech so that she wouldn't be harmed. Right. I was wondering if I could use long story short, I was wondering if I can use Genesis 11 and 31 to prove that she was Terah's daughter-in-law from marriage with Abraham. There's no scripture that says that they're brother and sister literally. So
I'm missing your point. What's your point about Abraham telling that king that Sarah was his sister? Your point
were they literal brothers and sisters?
No. And you're going to prove it with a precept. Now you understand there's a part under there where Abraham is describing how they're sisters, meaning related.
Right.
You understand, but not your father and my mother. You and I have the same father and mother. Go ahead.
Could I read scripture?
Please.
Genesis chapter 20, verse 11. And Abraham said, because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they will slay me for my wife's sake. Verse 12. And yet indeed she is my sister.
So I would assume that part would cut the atheist right there, where Abraham is describing why he said it. Right. Abraham is saying that statement was a lie.
Right.
He's saying it clearly right there. He's saying that he said this statement because he was in fear of his life.
Right.
Keep going.
She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife.
So what does Abraham mean? She's the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. What is he saying?
That she's his family.
You on to it. You're walking right to the door. She's in his nation.
Right.
She's in his tribe. Any black or Hispanic woman you marry is the daughter of your father.
Right.
Because you are related on your father's side. Everyone understands? Every man, you are ordered by commandment from God to marry a woman of your race. That woman of your race is related to you on your father's side. Does everyone understand? All right? Because that's how we're all connected. We all come from the same, read my mind,
father.
That's what I already said. We all come from the same sis in the back. That's what I already said. We all come from the same sis up front. You right here. You had your hand up, right? Okay, you did.
So far.
From the same seed. We all come from the same seed. Then you take the atheist to all of the seed of Israel, seed of your father, precepts, and you run him straight to those. Go ahead.
I wonder if I can use Genesis 11:31 as well.
Let's hear it.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 31. And Terah took Abraham his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife. Can I use the scripture?
Okay. It's not what Abraham means when he says she's related to me by my father. What Abraham means is that we are of the same seed.
Right.
Because that is the law since Adam. Since Adam's family had to marry someone that was flesh of their flesh, bone of their bone. It was the commandment that their great-great-grandfather Adam gave to his children. So since Adam chose Eve as a wife, they've always chosen a woman of that family. Do you get my point? That's it. Which, of course, which is why the tribe of Judah and the tribe of the different Hispanic-speaking tribes use what term for each other today? Brother and sister, or hermano, or carnal, right? Right? We use that term because we call each other brother. We call each other sister. Abraham did the same thing. Abraham is trying to say, Sarah is my sister on my father's side. But I lied to you when I tried to make it seem like she was directly related to me. But she is my sister on my father's side, the same way all of your wives are your sisters on your father's side. Everyone understands. Go ahead.
And then the next, what they're saying is the next contradiction is, okay, from the Haitian point of view, he's saying that Genesis, the 28th chapter, has nothing to do with us. Yes, we were brought into slavery in Haiti, but
Genesis 28, you mean?
Genesis, or not Genesis, Deuteronomy 28, 68. He's saying, they're saying it has nothing to do with the Haitians that are around today because we're not them. You know, like they're saying that Moses was speaking to people thousands of years ago, and they use Ezekiel 18 and 20 to show that doesn't have anything to do with us.
Because that happened to a people a long time ago.
That's what they said. Yeah.
I got you. Go ahead.
Ezekiel 18 and 20. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. The son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him. So what they're saying is, since the son doesn't pay for what their fathers do, why Deuteronomy 28:68 has nothing to do with us, because we don't pay for what our forefathers did. That's what they're arguing.
Okay, and what precept are you going to put? What do you need?
Yeah, I'll go to Exodus 20:5. When the Lord said he would visit the iniquity of them that hate me upon the third and fourth generation.
That's correct. You go straight there, Desire.
When it's talking about that, you can't die for the sins of the father. That's like our law, like for like amongst the people.
That's exactly right. When you go through and read that, and that's future prophecy for when Israel is in charge. That's also why that same prophecy, I believe, is in the book of Joel, where the Lord said, "No more shall the father eat grapes, and the children's teeth are set on edge. You pay for what your father did." And this concept is going to be totally understandable to this Haitian, because why is he poor? He's poor because his family is poor. Right? Why is another man rich? Because his family is rich. If you were born in Haiti to a family that lives in Haiti, you're eating dirt cookies.
Right.
If you're born to a family that's in Europe, you're eating filet mignon. Now, what's the difference between those two children? They're family.
Right.
You get my point? They're family. You pay for what your family has done. And that is absolutely clear today. It should be clear to anyone. Your family passes debt to you today. Your father dies, that bill is on you to bury him. All of his debts. In some states, they're going to give you your father's child support for other children. They're going to hand that straight to you when he dies. It's going to become your debt. That is a real thing. I'm not exaggerating. They're going to give you all of the liens he has on properties and cars he owns.
Right.
Those things are coming straight to you. So you'd have to be a complete idiot to not know that your life is better or worse based on debt that your father incurs. That is absolute and total today. Now, what we're fighting for in the Israelite School of UPK is when we don't have to pay for what our fathers did in the past. However, to get that, you're going to have to achieve something right now. You get my point? You're going to have to do something greater than your father ever did to be free from his debt. Everybody understands, correct? I'll get your next questions. Any other questions in there? Any questions online?
Go
ahead.
We got a question from Officer Kawat. It said Deuteronomy 17:17, Salakia, Shalom, they are using this scripture to say you can't have multiple wives.
Okay.
I got you. Go ahead. Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 17. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold.
Now, I broke this question down, I think, for 2 weeks.
Right.
Right? Now, usually when I have to break a question down for 2 weeks, There's some sister who is combing the Bible day and night with a miner's cap, with one of those lights in the dark, looking for a precept to stop her husband. With an atomic microwave, looking through the pages. I answered this question, it has to be twice. I know I answered it last Thursday. I remember that specifically. I think it's another time, all right? I've done this already. Your husband is allowed to have another wife. Done. That's it. Just let it be normal to you. Brothers, when you meet a woman, always tell her that there is a possibility that you will get another wife. Always. Don't ever lie. Just tell her. Just say, I don't have another woman right now, but more than likely throughout time and generation, I will want another woman. It more than likely will happen. I believe I can do it. You tell her. It's up to her to decide to be with you or not. Everybody gets that. And make it simple. So many times if you lie to a woman, especially if you tell her, I don't want another wife. And of course she thinks that you will never get one. Why? Because she's thought this her entire life about boys who have cheated on her since grade school. Since she was 12 and 13 years old. Right. Her father cheated on her mother. Her aunts got cheated on. Every man she has ever looked at has cheated on her. And of course, here you come saying, I don't want another wife. It's a major thing for women because women are something, when women are in the world, there's something that they hate to ever admit, but they are. They are jealous. You understand? A burning, hot jealousy that if you ask a woman who's going through your phone tonight about other women, if you say, why are you jealous of them? I ain't jealous of nobody. That's what she will do. She will say, I'm not jealous of anybody because they hate to admit that they are jealous. They are. They're jealous of the other women in your phone. You understand? They're jealous. And because they're so jealous, it's best for you to just tell her in the beginning. Right. I'm not going to break the scripture down again. I've done it twice already. You don't understand the Bible. I do. I think I make that abundantly clear every day. You don't understand. If you don't want a man that has more than one wife, don't marry her. Don't marry him. Marry a brother that doesn't want more than one wife. And there are brothers who only want one woman. He might change his mind, however. It's quite possible he could change his mind. Reading on. Any other questions?
Khan. We have another question from Karab. Say, Salaki in general, can I get a breakdown of Isaiah 13 and verse 17? Is this old? Or does this relate today?
Okay.
I got it, sir. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. As for gold, they shall not delight in it.
That's an old school UPK precept about Iran. About Iran, the Persians and the Medes, Mede being part of Persia or the capital of Persia. This is a precept for Iran in the past, for Iran today. Right. Persia is Iran. This is a perfect precept. One of the many Iran or Persia and the Mede, or the bear of the Medes, the bear of Persia. You're going to have all of those and take them out on the street. Take them to your classes. Take them to your scheduled battles and debates, your TV shows. Get it on. You got it right here. Next.
So if I could, just one quick comment about
Please.
Iran. They mock Iran's military size and how America. Obviously, America does outclass in terms of technology and everything else. But in Vietnam and Afghanistan and countless wars, they easily outmanned the enemy they're fighting and got stalemated really in Afghanistan and in Vietnam. So this could be the same thing.
Listen, it's going to be the same thing, and I pray, and all of us should pray, that this war with Iran brings us to the third world war. Right. This is something that Command and General Yohanna has been prophesying far before I came into truth. But as a young man, I always learned to look for these prophecies in the news. I learned to look for any war in the Middle East, any terrorism, anything that might cause countries to gather on one side or the other. You go research World War I. World War I started with the assassination of King Ferdinand, or Duke Ferdinand, Archduke Ferdinand. One man got killed. One man got killed, and then countries began to side with the country who shot him, or side with the country of the duke who got shot. And it made a schism in all of the great world powers, which killed 3 million people in World War I. 3 million people. 10 years after that, they had World War II. All of the same people fought again. Wars start with things just like this, with one important person being killed. This is how wars start, and I pray this is the beginning of the Third World War, because without the Third World War, Christ will not be back. And if Christ doesn't come back, you can get ready for your daughter to be the kind of whore that you buy every night. Get ready for that. Your daughter is going to be just like the whores you go to the strip club and see. Your son will be addicted to the same drugs that you are addicted to. The life that your children lead is going to be a worse life than the life you lead right now. And all of us should pray that this world changes. And the only way this world changes is for someone new to lead this world.
That's right.
That's why the Third World War is so important. That's a perfect precept, one of many. Go.
If I could, sir, as well, the United States Air Force just attacked some militia group in Libya. You know, Libya is going to get in the mix as well this month.
Oh, that's good. Libya, Iraq, Saudi Arabia soon. That's the big one for Gen.YAHANNA. Looking for Saudi Arabia. You want to look for them, Saudi Arabia getting involved in some way, all right? And of course, tonight, immediately after this class, Commander Gen.YAHANNA will do his podcast where he'll go in depth into the Third World War and what you're seeing on the news right now, all right? Questions? Come on, please.
Come on. Yeah, Malak Ban Yahawada say Shalom Yahbashim Yashab Rakatah. Salakia General. But if you have a legal weapon in your car and the cops pull you over, how would you tell them that?
If you have a legal weapon in your car and the cops pull you over, you just tell them. That's it. You just tell them, especially if you're in a situation where you could be searched. You want to just let them know. Now, of course, you have to remember that he wants to murder you, right? That's the important thing to remember with a cop. The important thing to remember is that he wants to kill you, right? He wants to murder you, but the Most High is on your side. And of course, you have no reason to lie because you're a man who fears the Lord. So what you want to do is tell him about the gun. Do not show him the gun. You tell him about the gun and you wait until he takes the gun. You get my point? So you hold it, you got your hands on the steering wheel. He'll say, do you have any weapons in this car? Yes, I do have a weapon in this car. I am a legal carrier of firearms. I have a permit to carry. And that's it. And you just stay right there. Don't grab your license. Don't go jump to show him the gun. Do not go jump to get your permit to carry. Don't do anything. Just say yes. Done. Do nothing else. So many brothers die because they go to grab the ID. They go to show him the ID, and the cop kills you, and then he doesn't even get arrested because he was afraid that you were going to reach for your gun and kill him. Go ahead.
If I may, sir, so, like, when they pull you over, they automatically know you got the gun, or it's a law for you to tell them that you have the gun?
Okay. When you get a permit, they say any interaction with law enforcement, you have to tell them that you have a firearm. Right? It's the person who gave you the gun is their way of trying to make sure you don't get killed. You get the point? So they're trying to help you. They're trying to say, always tell a cop that you have a gun. Because if he finds out you have a gun on your own, on his own, he kills you. You get my point? He just shoots you with absolute justification. He'll say oops later, but he thought maybe you were going to kill him. You get the point? So when you go to get a permit to carry in the states that you can carry a gun, part of the rules that they give you is tell a cop that you have a gun if you have any interaction with law enforcement. So, but what I'm trying to tell you is don't go show him the license. Don't do anything. You just say yes, and let him take it from there. So now he'll say yes. He'll say get out of the car. You get out of the car. He'll more than likely want to take the gun for himself because he's scared to death, and he's a coward, and he's a murderer all at once. So now you're interacting with him. So what you're trying to do is make him feel comfortable. You want him to relax because he's a coward and a murderer, and that's a very dangerous thing, right? He's dangerous because he's absolutely scared to death of you, and he's a murderer all at once. So you're just making him feel comfortable and relaxed, so you don't grab your ID to show him. You don't do that. You just tell him with your hands on the steering wheel, and he'll tell you what to do from there. Everybody understands, all right? And here's the biggest part. The Lord has to be with you. Because if the Lord is not with you, he's just going to kill you.
Right.
You get my point? And there'll be nothing you can do to stop him. You can get down and kiss his feet. He's going to kill you. You can comply with every order. He's still going to kill you because you're a sinner. And the Lord is in the hand of murderers when it comes to sinners. If the Most High is not with you, you're dead. And that's just not with cops. That's in a bar. That's walking down the street. That's sitting in your house. That's when you go to the doctor. When you don't go to the doctor, you're dead because the Most High is not on your side. You need his protection. Now, what precept am I getting this from when the method I told you in interacting with the police?
I agree with that adversary quickly.
Give him a hand. That's in the Bible. What I just said is in the Bible. Christ said it. Christ said, agree with thine adversary quickly when thou art in the way with him. Go ahead.
My adversary.
Just read it. Just tell them where it is. Don't read it right on the time.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5, and verse 25.
Christ told his men how to operate with the police of his time. He told them what to do because he was about to leave. And of course, he knew that they were going to be harassed by the law enforcement in Rome and the law enforcement of the Sadducee and Pharisee. And he said, agree with him quickly. Don't fight with a cop in the street. Fight with a cop in court. That's all. You know that in the UPK. Commander General Yahanna is extremely litigious, meaning he'll go hire a lawyer and send lawyers into a courtroom and scare the piss out of any attorney sent by the district attorney. He'll go hire a lawyer and everyone will get fired. Everyone will get written up. Everyone will get suspended. On the street, you agree with them. You relax. You fight it in court. That's all. And don't embarrass the school. If you're in the UPK, don't ever beg. I had a counsel recently. Let me make sure everyone knows. If you interact with a cop and he's trying to write you a ticket, do not beg a cop not to give you a damn ticket.
Right.
You embarrass us with that garbage. The cop's trying to write you a ticket. Officer, I was only going around the corner. I was just going around the corner. Come on, my sister is sick. My little baby needs diapers.
Right.
Come on, could you not? Don't embarrass General Yahanna with that garbage. Don't beg some sinner for mercy. Don't do something like that. A cop is writing you a ticket, take the ticket.
Right.
He's giving you a ticket, and cops will try to, they try to urge you to beg them. Where are you going? Well, I don't know why. Tell me why you're doing something like this. Officer, are you going to write me a ticket? I'm ready to take it. Are you going to give me a ticket? Thank you. I'll take the ticket. But please don't start begging him, telling him where you're going, telling him about your mom and your sick kids and all that garbage and all of this. Don't embarrass the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under General Yahanna. Don't embarrass us. And here's what else embarrasses us. Don't run and try to not get arrested either. Don't get all you see is that Hebrew Academy color, all in half down the front. Don't run. Don't fight. Turn around, put your hands behind your back, and get locked up like a goddamn man. Go in there and go to jail. Then now you're a credit to us now. Now you know how to go ahead and get locked up without begging, running, fighting. Fighting for what? What are you going to be, a fugitive? You're going to be that Tina and Queen? What's the name? Queen and Cheat. Queen and what? Queen and Slip. I guess you're going to fight the cop. Go on the run like Queen and Slip. That's what you do. Go to jail. That's it. Make a phone call. They give you a phone call. You make a phone call. We have lawyers down there and everything to rock the whole thing out. Get the bail, get it up, get you out of jail, and then we'll go to court and we'll see if that cop had just cause to arrest a priest who does not get high, who is not an alcoholic, who is not a criminal in any way. We'll see if he had just cause to do that. We'll see if his supervisor says that he had just cause to lock you up. We'll find out. Everyone understands, right? Next question.
If I could, sir, you're so right, because I remember the first time you said that about, me taking your ticket. And I remember I got pulled over one time He's like, yo, you can speed. I'm like, yeah, you're right, I was speeding. Just let I'll take the ticket. He's like, oh, just relax. You know what I mean? Just relax. I just gotta run everything, give you a warning, just slow it down.
That was to make you bad.
Come on.
Like that's what you know you were speeding, right? What? I didn't even know. See, my mom.
Right.
She was sick and she was trying to get to her. I live right around the corner. That's the old one. I live right around the corner.
Right.
See, my cousin told me to come help him. I ain't gonna never help my cousin again.
Right.
You did the right thing. You maintained your honor. And that's more important than living, to maintain your honor. Well done. Next question.
Kamakan. Is Officer Gabawar Banyashikar says, Salakia, sir. May I get a breakdown on Deuteronomy 33 and verse 23? This is a scripture that fake Hebrews use to say the Polynesians are the tribe of Naphtali.
I got you. Okay, just also another quick, let me help you with this point also. Call them fake Israelites, just so you don't, in the reverse, call yourself a Hebrew. That's something I noticed the young kids doing, calling themselves Hebrews. You should not call yourself a Hebrew. It is not traditional to the UPK to call ourselves Hebrews. We have always called ourselves Israelites. Can anyone guess why? Captain in the back.
There are other nations that are considered Hebrews that are not Israelites.
Give him a hand. The so-called white man, the people of Esau are Hebrews.
Right.
The people of Edom are Hebrews. The people of Ishmael are Hebrews. Of course, the Israelites are Hebrews. I think, would that be it?
East Indians,
The East Indians, the people of Elam are also Hebrews.
Chinese and Japanese.
The people of Moab and Ammon are also Hebrews.
Right.
Right? Which is why we never called ourselves Hebrews. I think that came from the so-called conscious community. And of course, fake Israelites were, invented by the so-called conscious community, right?
Right.
But people in One West, people in the UPK, we've always referred to ourselves as Israelites because Israelites are only Blacks and Hispanics, North American Indians. Everyone understands. You have to come from Israel. You have to come from Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, and his 12 sons after him to be an Israelite. Good to go. The term Hebrew Israelite is talking about the language. We speak Hebrew, and we are Israelites, Hebrew Israelite. The term Black Hebrew Israelite comes from the media.
Right.
That's from our oppressor, Black Hebrew Israelite. That's their way of saying we're Black Jews. You get my point? We're Israelites, but we're not the real white ones, like the ones they respect.
Right.
Right? But what we've always called ourselves is Hebrew Israelite to denote the language, or Israelites. Everyone gets it. And if you're in the truth, if the Lord loves you, you call yourself One West or a member of the I.S.U.P.K.
Right.
Let's go. Next.
Scripture, sir.
Please.
Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 23. And of Naphtali he said, O Naphtali, satisfied with favor and full with the blessing of the Lord, possess thou the west and the south.
What was this question about?
Fake Israelites use this to say that the Polynesians are the tribe of Naphtali and not the so-called
Okay, based on what?
west. I think it's the west and the south. I have no idea. The Polynesian Islands are the west and south.
I don't know what that is. I don't get why that is. Okay. They know, of course, that's not talking about Polynesia, but he's the brother that wrote the scripture, right?
Right.
They get that, right? This scripture is talking about what?
And this time it was talking about the land that, not this time, it's like it's a prophecy of where Naphtali would be in the last days. These are the blessings that will be on them.
That's what it's talking about. Give him that. That's exactly right. That's correct. The 12 tribes are gathered together. The west and the south is speaking about America, the Americas. That's where the people of Naphtali or the stag are today. That's their symbol in Israel. The Polynesians, this is some brother who's having sex with a Polynesian girl. And that's all it ever is.
Right.
All it ever is someone usually on the West Coast and they're having sex with a Polynesian girl and they're trying to make the Polynesians Israelites when they are not Israelites. The Polynesians are Chinese. That's who they are. That's their history. You can go Google it your damn self. That is who the Polynesians are. Any Spanish that you might see in them is because the Spanish, their Spanish influence because they work for the Spanish. That's it. But they're Chinese people who speak Spanish because they were occupied by the Spaniards, and that's all. Everyone understands. Here's more proof that the Polynesians are not Israelites. The Polynesians have Polynesia.
Right.
They have a land of their own, a culture of their own, a language of their own, a government and laws of their own. You know what happens if you sell drugs in a Polynesian country? Who knows what happens? You get killed. Those are the same ones that were caning people a little while ago. They take you and cane you and whip your thighs or kill you. It's a death penalty to sell drugs in most of those Polynesian countries.
One of them, I think it's called Borneo.
Borneo.
They banned all cigarette tobacco products. You can't even get
None. They have zero drug addicts in those countries. This is how I know they're not my people. Because they don't live under the curses that my people live under. When you're looking for Israelites, look for the curses. Don't look for the kind of girls you want to date. You get my point?
Right.
If you look for the girls you want to date, then of course, you know, redhead, white beat girls, they're Israelites. Irish, Italian girls, the Irish girls, the Chinese, all of the girls you want to date are Israelites, right? What you want to look for is death, destruction. You want to look for God's left hand destroying a certain people. 9 times out of 10, you'll find God's people, right? The Polynesians are a blessed people on the earth. They're blessed, which means they're not your brother, because your brother is cursed. Your sister is cursed. Everyone understands.
Come.
We good here?
One more question, sir. It says, Kwasha Yashua Allah UPK Salakia. Sir, was the year 2000 prophecy that was prophesied true even though it didn't happen?
Absolutely. It was true and it did happen. Come on. Thank you. Get it quickly. The year 2000 prophecy, way back in the, when would this be? 90s? This was back in the 90s. When Chief Head Priest Ariel said that Christ, this is probably before the 90s, it might go back to before that. I came into the truth in the mid-90s, but this has to be before mid-90s. Chief Head Priest Ariel said that Christ would be back before the year 2000, right? After that time, then the school began to grow and grow and grow. I came into the truth in the mid-90s. Then the year 2000 came. General Yahanna, by this time I was in the school, and General Yahanna had already told me about the year 2000, told me what it was about, and told me that we should pray that the Most High gives us more time. Already, back then, this was, what, 98? He was telling me to pray that we have more time, to pray that we can go out and find more brothers and sisters so that they don't have to die when Christ returns.
Right.
And after the year 2000, most of the brothers in New York left the truth, hating Ariel, calling him a false prophet. And since they hated him so much, then they rose up this cat named Tazadakia to be the chief pimp over the people who hated Ariel. And now he's going to jail for stealing $5 million of General Yahanna's money. Now, what Chief Head Priest Ariel said was absolutely true, absolutely right. What you need is this precept, and you need after the 2 days, the other one that Christ spoke about.
You want the scripture where Jonah said to the Lord, he knew he wasn't going to destroy it?
Yes, give me that, and give me what Christ said, after 2 days will I rise thee up, and on the 3rd day this, and on the 2nd day that, I believe, all right? Come on, quickly. The Jonah one might suffice for time's sake. Come on.
I have the Jonah one.
Go ahead.
Jonah chapter 4, verse 2, and he prayed unto the Lord, and said, I praise thee, O Lord. Was not this my saying when I was yet in my country?
Most people know the story of Jonah, right? Jonah went into the belly of a whale for 3 days because he did not want to go to the city of Nineveh and tell Nineveh what? Pull that precept. What didn't he want to burn? I want you to read it. What didn't he want to tell Nineveh? Even little kids know about, Jonah in the whale. If you grew up in the church, in that whorehouse, you've heard about Jonah in the whale. But you might not know, I'll get you, is why Jonah did not want to go to Nineveh. You know he didn't want to go to this city. Why didn't he want to go? He was so adamant about not going that the Most High had to have him get involved in a shipwreck. The people on this ship knew there was somebody on this boat that was disobeying the will of God. He got cast out of the boat. He spent 3 days in the belly of a whale. At the end of that, he finally said, all right, I'll go to Nineveh. Now, here's what you might not know. Why didn't he want to go to Nineveh? What was Jonah told to tell Nineveh? Who has it? Desire.
Oh, slide, sir.
A bunch. Come on.
Jonah chapter 1, verse 2. Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come before me. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord.
Jonah was told to go to Nineveh and speak against Nineveh, but instead he fled to Tarshish. Keep going. I need why he did. What was he told to say in Nineveh?
He doesn't say it until after he came out of the way.
Okay, then give me that and go straight there. I'll give it to you. Go ahead. Just go ahead.
Jonah 3. Jonah chapter 3, verse 4. And Jonah began to enter into the city, a day's journey. And he cried and said, Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown.
What did he say?
Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown.
Read it again.
Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown.
He was told to go to Nineveh and tell Nineveh that they would be overthrown in 40 days. He didn't want to go do it. He went into the belly of a whale trying to run from Nineveh. After he came out of the whale, he finally quit. And he went to Nineveh and he said, Thou will be overthrown in 40 days. Keep going.
And Nineveh shall be overthrown. Verse 5. So the people of Nineveh believed God.
So wait a minute. So when he said this, the people of Nineveh believed God. What did they believe? Who wants to give it a shot? Hurry up. They believed they were going to die in 40 days. They believed God. Keep going.
And proclaimed a fast.
And they went on a fast, the whole city. And this was a mighty city. Imagine New York or Chicago. Who all went on a fast, who all believed a prophet of God because they thought they were going to be killed in 40 days. And so they rushed to save their own lives. And they changed. Keep going.
From the greatest of them, even to the least of them.
Their leaders did it. Their poor people did it. Everyone repented. Now, so what happened? In 40 days, the Most High looked at Nineveh and he spared their lives.
Right.
And he did not kill them in 40 days. And now take me to what reason he didn't want to go. Go ahead.
Jonah chapter 4, verse 2. And he prayed unto the Lord and said, I pray thee, O Lord, was not this my saying when I was yet in my country?
Listen carefully. Read that again.
Was not this my saying when I was yet in my country?
He went out in the street and told everyone they were going to die in 40 days. They didn't die in 40 days. The Lord had mercy on them and gave them more time. Jonah was upset because now he looked like a what? A liar, a false prophet. And he said, Lord, was this not my saying when I was in my own country? Anymore?
Go
ahead.
Therefore I fled before unto Tarshish.
That's why I went to Tarshish. That's why I did not want to come to Nineveh. Now here's my question to you. Why did Jonah not want to go to Nineveh and tell Nineveh that they were going to be destroyed in 40 days? Abun? It's right here, Salaki. Go ahead.
For I knew that thou art a gracious God and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness.
Let me tell you something about the Most High, which men who serve him know. And this is in the Apocrypha, right? The Lord is great in might and power, and above all his power is his mercy. The Most High has immense power you can't even fathom. And all of his power is small compared to his ability to show mercy. Jonah knew that. And that's why he didn't want to prophesy that they would be killed in 40 days, because he knew the Lord would forgive them. He knew that he would do it. And he didn't want to go out and say, you're going to die in 40 days and be perceived to be a liar. He didn't want to do it. Then the Most High made a giant pumpkin raise up over him, grew over his tent. And then one day the pumpkin died, but this pumpkin gave shade. It was so big it gave shade to Jonah while he was living outside in the tent. And when the pumpkin died, Jonah was like, oh man, the pumpkin died. No, man, I needed that pumpkin for shade. Then the Lord told Jonah, you mourn for the loss of a pumpkin, a gourd. Why don't you mourn over Nineveh? If you wanted a pumpkin to live, can't I want Nineveh to live? I remember last Thursday, I was in class and some little boy was making a ton of noise in class. And I told him I was going to put him in the trunk of a car. I said, if you don't shut up, I'm going to put you in the trunk of a car. The little boy looked up at me, realized that I was out of my mind, and he was quiet. Now, here's what the boy does not know. I was never going to put him in the trunk. You get the point? I was not actually going to do that. But I needed him to think I would, so he would change. Was Ariel right to say Christ would come back before the year 2000? If he didn't, I would have never come into the truth, because I was standing at camp, loving every evil thing you could possibly imagine, being the absolute worst person in the world, right? Being the kind of person that would never listen to someone like us. And I heard them say it, and I was afraid for my life. And I realized that he could kill me, and I came into the truth. And after the year 2000, because men like me prayed and prayed and prayed for more time, then you came into the truth. You who would not have ever found the Lord if Christ came back before the year 2000. Ariel was absolutely right to say it. We should all thank the Lord that he said it if you came into the truth before the year 2000. And and those of you who came into the truth after the year 2000, you should thank the Lord that he is so merciful.
Right.
Everyone understands? That's your precept that you need right there. You also need what Christ says, after 2 days will I raise them up. After on the third, when I say it did happen, meaning this nation grew after that time, that we all were afraid of our lives and realized that we were getting a second chance. There is no one that is more zealous about being forgiven than someone who realizes that he should have been killed, he could have been killed, but he was given another chance. That person will be absolutely zealous to be a brand new human being, because he knows he doesn't deserve to take these breaths that he's taking right now. He doesn't deserve to still be here, and yet he's here, right. Which means that the Most High God is absolutely merciful above all of his power, and I owe him a debt. And then you live the rest of your life paying that debt. That debt is what the Christians run from. The Christian church runs from the obligation to the Most High, to realizing that they owe him, that you are a whore, you are a drug addict and a sinner, and you have not been killed. So now you owe me. So now every breath after this you'll take from me. Your every action will be my action. Everything that I want is what you will do, because you are supposed to be dead for the things you've done. So your new life belongs to me. And that is a fair trade. I know I thought it was. Next question.
Live, so that's it on the questions.
Anything in the room? Let's go to the Third World War. All right? Give me your Third World War precepts. We'll start to go over some of those that you need this week, all right? Give me a, somebody, you got it, right?
Come on, sir. Can we use the ones in Revelation chapter 9, verse 12, sir?
Let's hear it.
Revelation chapter 9, verse 12. One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter.
One woe is past. What is the word woe? The word woe means destruction or war. One woe is past, but there are two more woes coming after. After the first great woe, World War I, you had two more wars. The next one was World War II, and the third world war is on its way. The third world war is going to happen. And it's so, and you can see it marching forward. And America is just dead set because of its arrogance. They are dead set on making enemies everywhere they can.
It's like, sir, I could, U.S. President Donald Trump said, because Nancy Pelosi, Congress, and they were upset that he didn't necessarily, allegedly didn't get approved from them for the strike. He had said online, if Congress would like to get updates on our military actions, you can follow me on Twitter.
I saw that. That was just ridiculous. Donald Trump did not tell diplomats in, what's the capital of Iran?
Tehran.
In Tehran. He didn't tell them. They in Tehran, about to get stoned to death by the Americans. And he did not even tell them before he was going to kill that general or try to get him out of the country. Because he is absolutely arrogant. And that type of arrogance is just so dangerous. And it's going to push him into making enemies of everyone. And of course, making enemies of everyone is how you start a world war. And it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen now. I pray it happens. I pray, of course, more that the Lord save as many souls as he can possibly save before it happens. But it is going to happen. That's an excellent precept. Any more right there? You can also give me the statue in the vision with the Persians and the Babylonians. That also is prominent right now. Come on.
It's also one of Revelations 11 and 14, sir.
Let me hear that.
Come, sir. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe come quickly.
That's a perfect precept. Third world woe is synonymous with the third world's war. The third great destruction that happens on this earth, all right? The third world's war. The third world's war has always been prophesied in the Bible. Everything in life is prophesied in the Bible, which is why it is the most important book to everyone in power.
Right.
Whoever is in power, whoever is establishing a country or a government, inevitably will go to the Bible to establish that government. Even the Muslims go to the Bible to establish their government, because it is the only real record of real establishment, real government that can actually exist. And there are prophecies like this in the Bible. The third world's war. Anything else? Up front.
Jeremiah 50 and 14, when it said, put yourselves in array against Babylon.
Let me hear it.
Come. Says Jeremiah 50 and 14, slide. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 14, slide here. Right here. 50, verse 14. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she has sinned against the Lord. Shout against her round about. She has given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For this is the vengeance of the Lord.
That's an excellent precept. Give him a hand. All you need is that Babylon is synonymous with America. Babylon. This is Babylon. You need that. You take that with that understanding. That should crystallize that scripture for you completely, right? They're not protected the way they used to be protected. They don't have the allies they used to have, right? They're not unified the way they used to be unified, right? And now because of that, they're weak. And every other nation will see it. Give me the ambassador. An ambassador is sent from among the heathen. I'll break that one down for you, all right? Go ahead.
God, sir. Obadiah chapter 1, verse 1. The vision of Obadiah. Thus says the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor.
Concerning who?
Concerning Edom.
Who is Edom? Edom is our oppressor. Our oppressor is Edom. That's his name in the Bible. Keep going.
We have heard a rumor from the Lord. An ambassador is sent among the heathen.
We have heard a rumor from the Most High. An ambassador is sent from among the heathen, correct? Who is this ambassador? A good example of this of an ambassador would be someone like, what's his name? Gadam, say his name.
Abdul Nasser.
Abdul, is it Abdul or is it something else? You sure it's Abdul?
I'll look it up.
Gadam, I thought, Galam or some name like that. It's an Arabic name, all right? And his last name is Nasser, and he's an excellent example of this type of ambassador. Back in, I believe, in the 70s, he went to all of the other nations, the Arab nations, and began to tell them how they should unify against America. He began to talk about how America was supporting the Israelis, which are our oppressors transplanted in the Middle East. Go ahead.
Gamal Abdul Nasser.
Gamal Abdul Nasser, right? He began to speak to the Arab people, the Arab nations, and to tell them that they should band together against America, that it was time to band together against America. He's a good example of that. You're going to see more ambassadors like him in these last days. You're going to see different, come on.
It's like because the daughter of Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general that was killed, was seen in Iran speaking to some news outlet she's saying to American families, your soldiers are going to die. She's making that statement in Iran.
All right, cool. Listen, you're going to see many ambassadors come from the other nations who will go to the other nations, meaning the Arabs and other nations like that, and convince them to fight America. Convince them that it's in their best interest to fight America, especially if you're one of those African countries and you have some general who's on some list of people that America does not like. What is stopping America from killing your general? If you're North Korea, then what's stopping America from killing the president of North Korea? Like, everyone has to be sitting back saying, well, if America could do this because they determined this man to be so evil, who else is evil? Maybe my country has some evil people. Maybe your country has some evil people. And they will begin to talk to each other to say, before you know it, Donald Trump is going to kill a lot of us with drone strikes. And we're going to have to band together with Russia to fight America. And that is Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. Because as they begin to band together, the only power that could possibly help them is Russia, or who the Bible calls God. And they will band together with the people of God, with the people who support Russia, and now you have the Third World War. Go ahead.
It's like, so you also had a U.S. Or a base that was housing U.S. troops in Kenya that was just attacked on what you just said.
That's correct. Now, there's tons of African countries out who have generals who America would like to kill. And surely they have to be sitting back now going, they could kill a lot of us. We should talk. We should talk. We should all come together and talk to Russia, talk to China, and that's the Third World War.
Right.
Keep going.
Come. An ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle.
That happened. That happened with, what's his name again?
Gamal
Abdul Nasser. Is going to happen again. So they're going to decide to band together for safety, because they feel threatened. They all feel threatened because these other countries, these Arabs and these Africans, you could kill all of their citizens. They don't care about none of that. In Africa, you can just kill everybody in Africa who works in a diamond mine. They are going to do nothing because they don't care about their people. Arabs don't care at all about the average Arab. They could care less about them. To them, they're just trash to be thrown away. But they care about those sultans, and the royal family, and the rich people. Them they care about. This general they care about. And there's a general like him in a lot of African countries, a lot of other Arab countries, a lot of countries in North Korea. And to save their lives, they will band together, which is what this ambassador told them to do. And it's right here in the Bible. And this is how world wars start, like this. And this is how the Third World War will begin. Any more?
Verse 2, sir.
Go ahead.
Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen.
These are the words he's saying, meaning he's small among the heathen. Our oppressor is small among the heathen, meaning it's not a lot of them. It's very few of them, and other countries are growing in wealth and in power. Forget about China. China is a tremendously strong by now.
Right.
Before, China was considered so weak. Now China is absolutely strong, and on many economic levels, stronger than the U.S.
Right.
On many economic levels. Keep going.
Thou art greatly despised.
Thou art what?
Greatly despised.
And then America went and voted in Donald Trump, who is hated, despised by everyone because he is so overtly racist.
Right.
Donald Trump's hatred is so, he wears it on his sleeve so much that it makes every country hate him.
Right.
Thou art greatly despised. Keep going.
The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee.
And that's our oppressor, man. And that's Donald Trump. He's so proud. I mean, you have to be so proud to do something like that. So arrogant. Go ahead.
He was saying even the news article said even the Pentagon was shocked at what he did.
Of course they were shocked. Listen, who is ISIS's #1 threat? Iran. I'm fine. Let me explain. The Iranians are Shia Muslim, right? ISIS, you've heard of ISIS, of course, right? ISIS, they are Sunni Muslim.
Right.
And the Sunnis and the Shias are blood enemies like you can't understand. They hate each other on another level for about 1,000 years. They've been killing each other and hating each other. Well, Iran was killing ISIS, destroying ISIS in Iraq. Right? ISIS had a strong foothold in Iraq, and America had a strong foothold in Iraq. And Iran was going to war with ISIS, and America was going to war with ISIS. They were both fighting ISIS. And then America decides to kill Iran too. To kill Iran and ISIS. Like he literally killed the enemy of his enemy. Is that how it goes? How does the saying go? The enemy of the enemy is your friend. He killed the enemy of his enemy. So by killing and hurting Iran, you help ISIS. ISIS is going to grow because now Iran will be wrapped up in a war with America,
Right.
which means that ISIS gets to grow. And now ISIS, and the problem with ISIS is they don't fight wars in the Middle East. ISIS fights wars in New York,
Right.
and in
Right.
Denver,
That's right.
and in Philadelphia,
That's right.
France.
and in France. So why would you hurt someone who's fighting ISIS? You think you would just let them fight ISIS and just relax and watch them wipe out ISIS because they hate each other so much. They're blood enemies, the Shia and the Sunni. But now America is at war with the Sunni and the Shia. So now, and thereby, what will happen? When America starts killing the Sunni Muslims who are ISIS in Saudi Arabia, and they're killing the Shia Muslims who are the Iranians, what will obviously happen that has never happened?
They're going to get together against America.
He is going to unify the Shia and the Sunni together.
Right.
They're going to talk to each other. There's going to be an ambassador sent from among the heathens who will band together the Sunni Muslims and the Shia Muslims together because now they'll have a common enemy. And it is just so arrogant, it's hubris. Hubris is like extreme arrogance, where it's a sickness. And Donald Trump has a sickness of pride. Let me show you how sick Donald Trump is. I've been waiting to bring this out forever. If you in our oppressor's military right now, first of all, Lord be with you. If you're in the oppressor's military, and let me tell you something else. The brothers show me memes all week, which are hilarious. memes of people saying, "Wait, find this for me fast. Find me Donald Trump talking about toilet flushes, and now he's going to change the law about the toilet flushes. Find that, right? When you put it up on the screen, I'll show you which one it is. He wants to change the law. He wants to change the laws about the water pressure for toilet flushes, right? Now, let me show you your commander-in-chief first doing that, right? Then let me talk about the memes. Then now there's been memes all week of people trying to express how making jokes about how they have nothing to do with this war, because this is America's war. They have nothing to do with this war. And the memes are absolutely hilarious, right? But here's the problem. If you are Christian and you celebrate Christmas and you support the holidays of America and you buy weed and you smoke weed, you are part of this war.
Right.
You are part of it. Like, you're a fool to think that you just put a giant Christmas tree in your house and you bought Christmas gifts and now you want to separate yourself from America.
Right.
You cannot separate yourself from America in the time of war if you have not separated yourself from our oppressor in a time of peace. When it was time for Christmas, you were an American, right? When Christmas time was here, what were you? Singing the Donny Hathaway song. You singing the song. Who else was singing Christmas songs? Donald Trump. There was a Christmas tree in your house. There was also a Christmas tree in the White House. There was one there too. Right?
That's right.
There was one there. Donald Trump had one. You had lights on your house. Donald Trump had lights on the White House.
Right.
There was gifts given on December 25th, right, in your home. Well, Donald Trump gave out gifts too on December 25th, right? You support every evil thing about America until the war starts? No, bro. No. You're going to get in that war too.
That's right.
You're going to get in there too. You like Christmas, don't you?
Right.
Then you're going to fight in that war. And remember, this war is not going to be fought in Iran. This war is going to be fought at the parade, at the Christmas parade, when the next time the ball drops. It's going to be fought in America. The same way when America invaded the Middle East, when they invaded Iraq, where was the war fought? In New York. America went and supported the Israelis, went into the Middle East, created havoc in the Middle East. The war was fought in the World Trade Center. That's where it was fought, on the Upper East Side. That's where, Lower East Side, that's where it was fought. You get my point? The war is going to be fought here. And if you support Christmas, don't run from the war now. You absolutely support everything about America. You love to smoke weed, right? Weed is legalized. Yay! We can all get high. But there's a war that has to be fought now with Iraq. And you're going to be in it because you did not separate yourself from the sin of America. Don't separate yourself from the war.
That's right.
Now let me show you your commander-in-chief. What do you have there?
We have a
Listen, pause. Now everyone has to listen carefully. This is who just killed this general in Iran, and this is who you are about to die for when you're in Walmart, when the Shia Muslims set a bomb in the Walmart, or sent a terrorist into some event. You're about to die for him. Now, you have to listen carefully to this, though. See me one more time, Daniela. Play it. Pause it when I tell you. Wait, stop right there. Read that. Read that aloud.
Trump says people are flushing toilets 10, 15 times and called for better water standards.
Trump is saying that when people use the bathroom, right, for bathroom problems and situations, that you have to flush 10 to 15 times to make it go down. That's what Trump is saying. And he's going to explain. He's saying people have to flush 10 to 15 times for a bathroom evacuation. Let him explain. Go ahead.
situation where we're looking very slowly at sinks and showers and other elements of bathrooms where.
Listen, y'all gotta do something about these toilets down here. I'm on my 11th flush. I'm gonna try it one more time. But listen, you better pass along. What is in him that he is flushing 10 times? You want to go die for him? Because we believe in the Most High, we wait on the Lord. And what you're going to see right now in these last days is the culmination of so much patience. So much patience. The Israelite school of UPK, instead of doing what the Muslims did by becoming terrorists and murderers, we didn't do that to our oppressors.
Right.
We didn't become criminals. We didn't become terrorists. We didn't become violent. All we did was focus on ourselves. We got off of drugs, and we got off of cigarettes, and we stopped eating pork and shrimp and crab. We stopped being alcoholics and drug addicts and sinners while the other nations fought each other. And now here we are on the doorstep of the Third World War, and all of our enemies are about to fight one another. And we waited, and we were patient.
Right.
And now you'll see our patience come to pass. Keep going.
But wait on the Lord,
Keep going.
and he shall save thee.
And he will save you. We believed in these scriptures we read, brother. We believed the Most High would come for us. We didn't believe we had to start selling drugs because you got to make it here. That's what Muslims believe. Muslims are, especially here in Philadelphia, they always believe you had to start selling drugs to make it in this world. Christians, forget about it. Christians believe in doing anything that you might have to do to make one penny or to satisfy one lust.
Right.
But in the UPK, we didn't do that. We waited. We focused on being righteous. We focused on loving one another. We focused on being the best brother we could be, the best fathers we could be, the best sisters and mothers that we could be, while our enemies fought their own battles. And now here we are in the end, and the Father is coming to fight our battles for us. The Father is coming to fight our enemies for us like he did in the time of Gideon. There was a time when Gideon took 300 men to a battle to face armies of men. By the time he got to the battle, those armies were fighting one another. You're going to see that time take place right now. Keep going.
Verse 23, diverse weights are an abomination unto the Lord.
The Lord said, diverse weights are an abomination to the Lord. What is a diverse weight? Meaning when you go to a scale and you're supposed to get 1 pound of goods, he doesn't want your pound to be a half a pound. He doesn't want different weights. He wants a pound to be a pound. Why? Because that is justice. That's what the Lord wants. He likes things to be fair. He doesn't like injustice. He doesn't like one people to be the slave and to worship another people as though they were God. And this people over here hates this people, puts them in cages on the border, destroys them and pumps drugs into their neighborhood. He doesn't like that. He wants justice.
Right.
And that's what you're going to see take place in the earth right now. You're going to see the Father fight for us, man. The Father is going to fight for us. You're going to look up and you'll see him fighting for us, and you had no need to ever fight for yourself. Give me Revelations.
Come, sir.
Read it.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. The UPK believes this scripture, man. One West, we believe this. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. It's a definite. It is definitely going to happen. What does that mean? Our oppressor will be a slave.
Right.
He is going into slavery. It's not something that might happen, that could happen. It is going to happen. Keep going.
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
You watch the police murder our people, murder our brothers, and murder our sisters. You've watched our oppressor murder us by the millions through poisoning us. How did our oppressor poison us? Drugs.
Right.
Drugs. Drug addiction. Drug addiction is mass murder through poison. Mass murder through poison. Then think about the water, all of the lead in the water that you pay for every day. We've been murdered by the masses, by so many different vehicles of murder, whether it's guns, whether it's poisoning us through drugs, poison in the water, poison in the food we eat. But the Bible says this. Go ahead.
Come. Here is the patience.
No, read that last part again.
Come, sir. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
The Bible says he must be killed with the sword. That's justice. That's a just measure, a just weight. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
Right.
The balances have to be even. The weights have to be even because the Lord loves justice. The white man murdered us, so now he pays with his life. Our oppressor murdered us, so now he pays with his life. The Arabs murdered us, so now they pay with their lives. That's justice. Keep going.
Come on, God. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
Here is the what?
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
Here is the what?
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
If you want to understand the UPK, you understand this. These scriptures that scare you, these scriptures make us wait. They make us patient.
Right.
Because we know we will receive justice. So we don't fly planes into buildings. We don't pick up guns and kill people like the Black Panthers of the 60s. We don't commit crimes. We buckle our seatbelt in every car. We pay our taxes. We go into the store and we buy food or goods. We pay for those goods and that food. We pay for anything that we take, we pay for it. Right? We don't steal, we don't lie. Why? Because we know that justice comes from Yahweh. Justice comes from the Lord. And we are patiently waiting for the Lord to give us justice. And just know when you turn the news on every day, what you're seeing is the fulfillment of the justice of the saints. This is justice finally coming to pass. When you see our enemies fight each other on the news, when you see war revving up all over this world, know that that war is fought for you. That war is fought because you didn't fight. You didn't take up and render evil for evil. You didn't become a murderer because our oppressor is a murderer. You didn't become a drug dealer because our oppressor is a drug dealer.
Right.
You didn't become a thief because our oppressor is a thief. That's what the Christians did. That's what the Muslims did.
Right.
You became a more righteous brother, a more righteous father, a more righteous sister, a more righteous mother, and now God fights your battles.
Right.
Right.
With that, pass the class over to police officer.
That's right. That's right.
ISUPK security announcement. Where the ISUPK started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits to 6 months. They have to be saluted only. They are here to shut themselves to the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 10, means tenth in Hebrew, my Asherah, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department. Priest fund, the free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatever amount you would like. Up and coming holy convocation, which would be Purim, which would be Saturday, March 7th and March 8th. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, start to wear all black, black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, I imagine, which means stand. Just the brothers. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute. I imagine Shabbat. I imagine Barak. Yashkatah, Sar, which means turn, sisters, I imagine, which means stand. Sisters, you want your feet at a 45-degree angle. Your left hand over your right hand with your head down. Men of Israel, we're going to give the sisters one courtesy salute. I imagine Shabbat. I imagine Barak. Yahweh and what you want to say is Yahweh, Shamar, Aladon, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. And what we said was the Most High watch over you in the name of Christ. Yahweh Matah, class dismissed. If I can have Brother CB for camp fund,